Go on, man. What did you want to talk about
Uh,
today?
how are you, bro? So yeah, like basically that, right? I've been listening. I mean, this was before you, so I'm not copying you with Alex or Most because I also listen to him quite a lot. But like this question that he has, like, what are the beliefs that I hold that are probably false, right? So I kind of want to maybe hear a bit about your experience because you've talked a bit about how you were stuck at 1K at a point where you were doing coaching, maybe even below that, and then you exploded. Like it was crazy. So I really believe that people that make more money than I do know something I don't, and it's all based on beliefs. So I want to know how to uncover those beliefs that I need to adopt and get rid of the limiting ones. So what do you think?
That's a really good question. This is super valuable for everyone listening. So, what Santi's talking about when he's mentioning this guy, Alex Hormozi, he's the author of this purple book behind me, Alex Hormozi, and he's worth like over 100 million. And he's his advice is so good, and he talks about that if you're not successful, it's because you only lack three things: beliefs, traits, and skills. And for a lot of people, it's usually beliefs. Like if you have the traits and skills, for example, of hard work and focus, and you can sit down and be productive. For most people, it's actually the beliefs about money. So a fast belief I could tell you right now is, let's say someone who lives in India and the average salary there is like $300. And so when he sees my videos on how to make 10K a month, it doesn't even register in his brain that it's possible for him because no one he's ever known before, no one he ever walks past the street makes 10K a month. Here in India, we don't make 10K a month. That's his belief. Then when I tell him, okay, are there any Indian millionaires? And he starts thinking about all the guys he sees on TVs, the TV shows, the Bollywood actors, and all those people. He's like, yeah. So okay, well, there's people who make millions still in India, first of all. So if they can do it, and then there's probably a bunch of businessmen, and there's probably people who own real estate there. Like, there's still a lot of millionaires. Just because the average is low, fair enough. But the thing is, like, the average person's fat. So does that mean that we should just think, yep, well, if the average person's fat, we should be fat? So that's just one example of the beliefs. And so Santi, you asked me of my history of like the success beliefs that I had. The first one was when I started to make money online in 2020. So I started the same business that a lot of guys here are doing, which was online coaching. And I remember I set up my prices for less than half of minimum wage. So £3.50 per hour. And I'd go on the call with these guys for about 2 hours. So I was making about $1, just over $1 an hour when I first started like YouTube. And this was because I had the false belief that if you charge a lower amount, it's better in some ways. And a lot of guys have this. A lot of guys sell like as low as possible price because you think that, oh, I'm just getting experience, or like because then more people will buy it. They're the most ones, right? And what people don't realize, what took me a little while it took me a good few months to realize, is actually you get the worst clients. You actually get less clients, which is so interesting. When you charge less, you get less people buying. It's so fucking interesting. Like today, I just increased the price of Adonis Academy to $999 a month, to 1K a month. 3 people have bought it already. Every single time I've increased the price of Adonis Academy, it has not changed. Like this is a belief that all of us have right now. You would assume that if you had a higher price, that like it would drop how many people buy. Maybe a little bit. Honestly, maybe a little bit. About the same. Like sure, like the first day I released Adonis Academy for 99 a month, and 100 people bought it in one day. Sweet, right? So okay, 100 compared to like the 3 people that buy it per day right now, right? But this is on the start of the release and everything. But when you increase the price, it makes up for any small difference in the quantity of people who buy. And it also means that usually better people buy. And it also means that you have less people that you need to help, so you can give each person better help. And so I didn't know this at the time. So I started online coaching, as a lot of guys here are actually getting into, or selling products online. And I priced it just affordable. Let me get some experience, let me get some testimonials. That shit doesn't actually make that much of a difference. Honestly, it really doesn't. And so when I was like, it actually makes you kind of a worse coach or salesman, or it makes you a worse product. Because when you don't profit as much, you will not make it into a better product. This is like key belief number one, then reversed, is that when I started charging more, I actually gave a better service and the clients got better results. It wasn't like the opposite way around where you start by charging less and like and then you gain the experience or anything. You have to start by charging more. That's when it hits you of like, oh fuck, I've got to give this guy's crazy value that he's paid for. That's like the feeling you've got to have. Every day I'm waking up thinking, man, these guys have paid me quite a lot of money. I've got to make sure that I'm really helping them. If I had everyone at to a low price, it's like I would have just been slacking right now. Do you know what I mean? I would have been like, I wouldn't have added all the extra stuff that I've added if I just kept everyone at the 99. And this would have been like another thing where I've released where it's just kind of like, it's kind of nice, I guess. Some people have made a nice review for it, sweet, but you know what I mean? But now I think Adonis Academy is great because I've been pricing it just constantly higher. So there's a big, big belief is make sure that you price your things so expensive that it gives you this burning desire to make it worth it. Now, if you stop there with a shit productivity, shit laziness and stuff, then of course you'll be run out of business. People will be annoyed. They'll ask for refunds and everything. But then you should use that to actually over deliver on the value. So this was the first key lesson that I learned, and this took me from a few hundred a month to more like 1.5, 2K a month instantly, just from online coaching. And I only had 1,000 subscribers. The next big lesson is there anything you want to say about that first?
No, man, really, please carry on. That's exactly the level. Like I told you, I'm between 2 and 5K a month in dollars. And this is I'm trying to push it to the next level. So very excited to what you're going to say.
Okay, so the next level then, so let's say I'm about 2K a month. What took me from 2 to about over 10K a month, and this is where a lot of guys are as well, or this is where a lot of guys here will be soon. What took me from this gap was then the new belief that trading my time for money, especially in one-to-ones, is never really going to make me more than a few K a month. Things are different now. I can trade my one-to-one time with someone for 10K an hour, for example. Now it's like, oh yeah, sweet, I could make a good amount of money from that. But especially back then, when you're kind of like a nobody, it's like you can make an okay amount, 1K, 2K a month, and maybe you can set up some coaching packages and some upsells and stuff. You can make a pretty good amount. Maybe you love that, so fair enough. But I wanted to make a fuck ton of money, right? I wanted to make way more. After a while, it just becomes a game and it's just fun for you, right? So then I realized, okay, now I need to not sell my one-to-one time. I need to sell a product. So what took me from 2 to over 10K a month was taking my knowledge and putting it into an online course and then selling that for $197 each. And that taught me the lesson of kind of passive income, of making money that wasn't tied to my time. Suddenly I remember that I went on a date with a girl and 2 of the courses sold. I made $400 whilst on a date with her. You feel like a G when that happens. And a lot of times I'd wake up in the morning and there was a sale overnight, and each sale was more than I used to make per week in my full-time job. So that was crazy that suddenly I was making over my night. So my advice here for the new belief of people is, if you're making 1 or 2K a month and you feel a bit stuck there, it's probably because you're almost working too much to make that money. What you need to do is to do a big chunk of work right now to set up a product that can sell quite passively. Now, passively is a weird word because, for example, with my online course, it's kind of passive, but it's only passive because I'm still mentioning it on YouTube, so it's not totally passive. If I disappeared right now, sure, I'd be making passive income from YouTube and stuff, but at one point, it would just keep going down, right? Everyone's like, oh, where's Hamza and stuff? And after 2 months and 3 months and 6 months and 1 year, it's like, okay, it's went down. So passive income's a lie, first of all, and I actually think it's a negative thing, which we'll talk about soon. But from 2 to 10K was make a product that can sell without you. So you can do this even in the physical world. You can go through the huge hassle of, for example, making your own brand of protein shakes. And that can sell without you. And that's how you can go from 2 to 10 to 100 or even 1 million a month. But at least for me, I went into online courses. And so that was really powerful because the $200 paycheck per one, especially when I was just mentioning it on YouTube, meant that suddenly I'm making 10K a month. Another belief that formed there, this is when it felt I was making this course, this product, and I was following a bit of the principles I had learned from 100 Million Offers, to price it kind of high. I wanted to price it at literally $19 because that's what some other people were doing. Then I put it as 97, then I put it at 197. And I was thinking to myself, wait, people are gonna buy this it's just some videos of me. I post videos to YouTube. People don't really pay for it. I've recorded like a ton of these fitness videos. I put it into a package, and people are gonna buy this. That's when I realized, like, if people like you, if you have a good enough sales page, people will buy it. Literally, like, this is like a shocking belief to me and maybe to a lot of people. People will literally buy your stuff, bro. People will buy your stuff. Like, you know, you might, like, people back then when I released this course and it was $197, and, you know, so every now and then, like, some dickhead will comment and he says, like, oh, you know, it's too expensive. Oh, you, like, your brand is, you know, like, for young guys, for teenagers and stuff. Like, no one can afford that. But people were buying it. One person was buying it every single day. 2 or 3 people. On average, it was selling more than 10K a month. So it's like, yeah, people are buying it. So this is what made me realize. Because I stopped for a while and I was thinking, am I in a poor niche right now? My niche is young guys who are getting onto self-improvement. They're probably still watching porn, playing video games. No, they can't afford this stuff, can they? Like, you know, I was putting it at £200. They can't afford this stuff. You know, some teenager, some guy from India messages me. He can't afford it. And I'm thinking, like, yeah, this is too expensive. And then I'm like, wait, so why is it selling? And then just something clicked. And I thought about this. You see what this is? This is a pair of AirPods Pro. Every fucking 14-year-old has one. Every 14, 15-year-old has got trainers that are $170. Their whole outfit's like $400. They can buy your stuff. Now, all these little fucking kids who like to complain and then, oh, you know, it's too expensive for teenagers. No, it's not. Your shoes are worth more than what I'm selling here, bitch. You can afford it. Like, your parents are buying you shit. You've got trainers that are more expensive than I've ever spent on my life, right? So it's like, you've got money, motherfucker. So you give me it, bro. So this belief was, especially for me, was that, okay, people have got money to buy. Literally, people have got money to buy. You could even try to target to, like, guys in India. I'm using this example because a lot of guys from India comment about, like, my prices and stuff. But there's people who've got, like, communities who are just based in India, still for $100 a month, $200 a month, and people are still buying. You know, there's over 1 billion people in India, bro, and like literally thousands or millions of them still can afford hundreds of dollars a month. Now, this led on to another part of the same realization again. So that, you know, there's quite a few big beliefs for this period, and this was specifically with my niche, my business of, okay, being like an influencer, YouTuber who's selling to his audience, and it was that you are not trying to sell to your audience. This is what was so. This is actually really valuable for a lot of guys here who are, you know, like on YouTube as well, right? You are not trying to sell to your audience, because you'll get a lot of hate for it, and you'll be trying to figure out and think, wait, like, you know, that this guy I know from my comments, he couldn't afford this and stuff. No. This is what really helped me. You are not selling to your audience. You are selling to the few 1% of your audience who are already buying this kind of product from a different creator. So why not you? You see, 1% of your audience are buying some bullshit online. 1% of my audience are buying online courses, communities and stuff. And when I was thinking, like, should I make this online course? Is anyone going to buy it? Is it worth it? As soon as I thought that, I was like, wait, some of my audience are buying courses from someone else right now. Why the fuck am I not getting in on this? And then I realized, okay, especially with like audience related, you know, social media brands, as we've got a lot of guys here who want to get into that. Don't sell to the 99% of people who are watching you. Sell to the 1% of people who are buying that kind of product already. Give away a lot of free stuff to the 99% of people. So what I mean by this, Ali Abdul has a good phrase where he goes like 99, 99, 1, 1. And what this means is make 99% of your work for free for the 99% of your audience. Make 1% of your stuff incredibly expensive for the 1% of your audience. I love that. That works so well. That's why every product I've released since then has been so fucking expensive. I'll be honest. You know why? You don't want to sell to brokies. You don't want to sell to poor people. I know that sounds horrible, but you don't want to sell to people who've got money problems. It's logical, right? You know, someone might say this is offensive. You don't want to sell to people who've got money problems. You don't want to sell like anything low price. A lot of people talk about these low ticket offers and stuff. I've never done one, and I make more money than all the people who talk about low ticket offers. The reason why, there's this joke that people like to talk about. When you sell something for $20, for example, and like, you know, Hustlers University and Sneako's thing, they're all $50, right? When you sell something for that price, the people who buy it are usually like dicks. They're usually just broke. They've bought something for like $20 or $10 or $7 or something. And guess what? Like, it's this meme of like it says like $7 customer, and they're replying like, so specifically, what do I get in module 1.7? And then it's like $50,000 customer, like with broken English. Hey bro, sent mon. And it's
Yeah.
100% true. That's exactly what happens. Like I'm like the bottom category now for when I buy stuff. I buy a 5K course and I look at it for like 2 hours. And when the guy emails me saying like, "Can you record a testimonial?" I'll be like, "Yeah, sweet. Here you go." Oh yeah, it's so good. I joined Ali Abdul's course for $5,000, and I've looked through it for literally about 20 minutes. I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is kind of nice." Yeah, and I've not looked at it again for like a week. When you sell to people who have got money, they're way better clients. They expect less from you. They give you more. And so the idea is, if there is anyone here who's going through their own like social media business, don't think that you're selling to your subscribers. Think that you're selling to the 1% of random rich motherfuckers who are stumbling on your videos, who are buying that kind of product already, and they're buying the product, which is probably genuinely, take this seriously, it's probably 10 to 50 times how much you're charging right now. And so this 1% of your rich client, like rich subscriber base, they're not going to buy your shit if it's cheap, because they're going to think it's a waste of their time. Like if I see something right now for $7, like some program, I'm not going to buy it because it's probably shit. You know, I'm like playing in the game of like, I'm looking for something worth 10 to 50K. If Alex Hormozi made a course and he made it for $7, I'd buy it because I'm a fan. But I kind of hope that he made one for $50,000. I would buy that. So what I'm saying is right now, if you're trying to sell to your audience, make sure you price it really fucking high, because the kind of person that you're selling to is used to it being genuinely probably more than 10 times what you're charging right now. Probably more than 10 times. Probably even more than that. Just remember that. So whatever your thing is right now, consider charging, like, honestly, I'd say 10 times. You should instantly just go and do that right now. But if I was you, I genuinely would be asking myself, okay, what about 100 times? Now think about it. Now think to yourself, okay, fuck. Like some guy mentioned, he sells a course for $29. 10x it right now without any other thoughts. Literally 10x it. You'll make more money. You'll get like even probably more sales and everything. No reason not to 10x what you're selling in price. Literally just instantly, right? But the same guy who's selling this course for $29, I'd even ask him, okay, what if you times it by 100 and you made it 2.9K? What would you do now? Now what would you do? What would you add into it? And he's suddenly, his brain's working, and he's like, "Oh, I'd give him this thing, and I'd do this thing, and I'd do this thing." And I'm like, "Well, this is how you become like a high-level businessman. This is how you become a great salesman. You add in these extra things that you could have done, but that you refuse to do because it was too cheap. You want to price something so fucking expensive that you're literally there, like you'll wake up in the middle of the night and be like, "Oh, I should do this thing for those guys as well. I should do this thing." That's like your progressive overload. That's like your edge, and you're pushing past it to be like, "Okay, this is the level of entrepreneurship I want to go to." You want to get these, like, you want that pressure that comes from selling something so expensive that you need to make it worth it for them. So Santi, you said you're making like 2 to 5K right now. What's the product that you're selling, or is it all from AdSense?
No, it's all online courses, which right now I'm waking up to the fact that I'm pricing like a bitch. Like I'm pricing like $80 per course, and I have 3 courses, and I'm migrating everything to school as a membership, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely gonna increase my prices like right now. What the fuck? And like one thing that I honestly don't know, because I've seen you do this, like I don't know if I should still sell my courses separately from the membership. Like you get all the courses with the school membership, which is what you've done. But do you think it's still worth it to keep selling the other ones as a one-time purchase for a lot of money?
I was gonna take mine off, but a few people emailed asking for them. So like a few people didn't want to join the membership, and a few guys even asked, like, they only wanted the course and they wanted it for life. So I told them, like, "Oh no, like it's way worth your money to get into the membership," but they weren't actually interested. So I would leave the course sales up. I would make them way more expensive. You're selling them for like $80 each, or
like a bitch.
Yeah, like a bitch, to be honest. Like I sold mine for 97. Bro, get this right. I priced mine at 97 before it was released as a pre-sale, just to test if people wanted to buy it. So I was selling nothing, bro. for more expensive than you're selling your product for. I sold nothing. Like, people paid me $97 just to kind of like say that they bought it, but they didn't get anything. It was just a pre-sale. It was just like, like what a pre-sale is. People were giving me more money than you, bro. You are pricing like a bitch, Santi.
All right, that's my belief where I suck. Yeah, okay.
Consider, bro, you could literally take the exact same course, make it $500, $497, and honestly, like, think about it. You would have to sell 6 copies of your price right now to make up for the new one. Chances are, and you know how it all works on conversion rates, chances are the conversion rate is not going to be 6 times lower if you 6 times the price. This is where it gets like interesting, because the math is like a little bit complicated, but like it's never linear. So if it's $80, let's say $100 right now, and you make it 1,000, the conversion rate of how many people buy it is never linear to that, so it just matches up or anything. It's usually more like this, where slightly more of an unequal percentage buy the more expensive thing. So, in other words, it's like you literally will just automatically make more money if you literally just price it more. If I was you right now at the lowest level, I would go and make that course $497, like literally right now, straight away. Nothing even changed to it. Just that. Then I would even consider, okay, how could I charge $997? How could I charge $197 for this? And I would literally be racking my brain, because this is how you become like the high level entrepreneur. You sell one of those courses, bro, one of those top tier ones. That's how much you're making per month right now. When you have like you know what's interesting, right? Everyone's conversion rates are going to be roughly different depending on what we sell, but usually it's 0.5% of people, which means like 200 people see your sales page, 1 in 200 will buy it, right? For a 1K course. But for you right now with this $80 one, it's probably like a 1.5% conversion rate. So it's like, okay, 200 people see it, you've got 3 sales. You make what, $240? 1K.
Yep.
Like, you could go have a look right now, and you can follow the numbers, and that's more than what we can say, but you can literally look at the data. It's always unequal. So I'll tell you straight away, just increase it. Literally, no. Like, there was a guy actually one time when I had my course for 97, and I was in the sauna of my gym, and there was a guy who was into online coaching, and he was in this marketing space. And we spoke about courses, and he said he has his one, he charges 1997, right, 2K. And I mentioned mine, 97, and he almost looked at me weird, and he was like, "Oh, what's wrong with it?" And I knew like the vibe he was getting at. I knew I had read 100 million offers at this point, and I thought I had increased my price getting it to 97, and this guy was charging like fucking 20 times more than me. And he looked at me almost with disgust, and he went like, "What's wrong with it?" And then literally pretty much the same course, bro. I charged 5 times as much later on in the future, and people started buying it more. You see, people literally want to buy expensive things. Never ever get this limiting belief like, oh, but some people are broke and stuff. Yeah, sure, like a lot of people are broke, but a lot of people are fucking rich, and they won't buy an $80 course. They'll literally assume that it's shit. And there's a study that Alex Hormozi gives in his book. It's simple, like it's so common it's so like obvious that this is how it works. Is participants enter a room, and they're just doing a wine tasting test, and they showed 3 wines. There's a cheap wine, a middle-priced wine, and an expensive wine, and then they're tasting, okay, which wine's the best. And naturally, they say the cheap wine is the worst, the middle one's the middle, and the most expensive wine is the best, right? It's the same wine all 3 times. They literally just, like, people assume the value is linear to how much they pay for it. So why not just charge higher? This is why, like, like the Gucci handbags and that type of shit. Like, you remember always growing up, you guys would have heard this, like, oh, this handbag's like 2K, and you always thought, oh, that's a scam. Or like, oh, like this guy flew over and he had this cheeseburger which was $20,000 or something. But like, our brokey mindset was like, oh man, yeah, that's got to be a scam. Why would you pay for that? That's a rip-off or something, right? But the reason why people do it, even though it's literally just a cheeseburger, it's literally just a handbag. The materials for the Gucci handbag, Chanel handbag that my sister always buys, the materials for it cost literally like $5. But it's because they've just priced it high, and they'll always price it high, that suddenly, okay, well, since they're refusing to lower their prices, it's worth 2K. Since you've set your price, your course is worth $80. That's it. It's worth $80. If you increase your price, it's worth $500. It's worth what you sell for it. And as soon as you've got really one sale, then it officially is worth that price. And people will literally buy it. Like it's the nature of things. So this was the belief that got me from to above 10K, was realizing that one, people will buy shit. It was the AirPod analogy when I just thought, bro, these fucking teenagers have all got AirPods, man. They've all got trainers more expensive than mine. They got money, bro. Like,
Yeah.
and that pricing it higher is very important. So then I stayed at like 10K ish, 10, 15, 20K for a while. It went up with Skillshare, but then I got banned on Skillshare, so it went down, you know. And I had this belief then for a very long time that this is quite a micro belief, so I don't think there'll be many people in the call who really this is relevant for just yet, but it will be. If you expect to become successful, it will be, especially in social media stuff. I had this belief that if I sold more, I would be seen as a scammer, that it would be a bad thing if I actually tried to make like another product that was good. And so for over a year, I was quite scared of selling. I would just very briefly mention it and try all these subtle tactics to sell, you know, get them into the email funnel and stuff, and, you know, try and do it like in a scared way. Didn't make anything else paid. People would always message me. My staff would always message me and stuff like, you know, oh, here's this idea. We could do this. We could make this course. How about this? How about you make an app? How about you make something exactly like Adonis Academy? And I was like, no, with the mind, like, people are going to call it a scam. I was so scared of being called a scammer. So this is more once you have like a brand, especially in social media, like only really in social media, when you sell something, people kind of think it as like a you know, a lot of stuff's called scam these days, which, by the way, it's like something is only a scam if it's described differently than how it is. And if, for example, they promise you a refund but they don't give you a refund, something like that, that's it. And like, you can't even do that. Like, literally, you can't do these things these days. And there's literally no scams out there these days, honestly. Like, especially on like the big YouTubers, like people say Iman's a scam and stuff. It's like, you literally can't scam people these days. It's literally just not possible. You can't not like give someone a refund when they want one. They can just charge back and everything. So that this was just like, I was just fear inside of me. So the belief was one which was fearful, which was, if I sell more, people will think I'm a scammer. People will dislike me, and people will, you know, like not be happy with this, right? And so for a long time, I didn't consider any other product, and so I literally just was complacent. I just would mention the few courses I had when, you know, it was somewhat relevant. I'd make the videos, and I didn't really feel this extra passion to like work hard, because, you know, my work task to record 7 videos a week only took me like 2 hours. So for a long time, it's like I didn't give my gift to the world because I was so scared. Like it you know, it sounds bad, but it's like I didn't want to do something like this for free because it takes a lot of my time. And like, you know, I knew that like I would I'd done stuff like this for free. I was on Discord every single day doing calls, but I would often just kind of resent it because I felt like I wasn't getting much from it. And I can be wholesome and say like, oh yeah, but it's, you know, it's so nice like speaking to people. There's so much benefits to that. But it's like, if I was making money from it, I would have been way more motivated. You know, like how many people here would actually work for free? Be honest. Probably not that many, right? Would you just go to the job for free just because it'll develop your character? Like, yeah, maybe for some time, but you're hoping that you get paid for that shit, right? So not trying to make money was this poor belief that I had inside of me that making money would mean that I was like a bad person, a scammer or whatever, that my brand would suffer from it. And this was broken by Andrew Kirby, who, when I spoke to him and I sent him a screenshot of how much money I was making from the courses, he sent me like a Loom video where he was like so excited for me, and he was like, oh, you know, making 20K a month from your courses is awesome, but you could be making a lot more. And he was like so happy about it. And suddenly I was just like, wait, have I just for the last like year of my life just listened to like the fucking brokies, the retards who comments like, oh hey bro, this is so expensive for me in India or something, you know, just fucking retards just comment all the time like, oh, you know, it's $400, it's got to be a scam or some bullshit like this. Have I just listened to them instead of like a fellow entrepreneur? And as soon as I destroyed that belief that selling isn't a bad thing, if anything, it's a fucking amazing thing. Because as soon as I allowed myself to make more money, suddenly I'm working ultra hard, which feels good for me, feels good for you guys. You guys are getting value, I'm getting value. Capitalism's fucking awesome. I don't know why I was so scared of it for so long. So that was like a very micro thing that, you know, you have to get to a certain level of being like an influencer in the public light to feel that belief. But the one final one I can give, and I think, again, this is going to be relevant to a lot of guys, is passive versus active income. When you look online, every motherfucker wants passive income these days. It's what's cool. It sounds so awesome. How to make, you've seen all these fucking dickheads on like finance YouTubers, how to make $500 a day passively. Like the 5 ways to make passive income. Just shut the fuck up, right? from the book The 4 Hour Work Week, right? Amazing book, but I took it too far. I was against active income. I was against working hard to make more money. I wanted everything to be passive. I refused to do like the active thing. So, at first I said, okay, like I was trading time for money and stuff like that. I was working hard and making the money, and then I just wanted to stop doing that. It's like this bell curve where certainly you should not do that to a point where, like, okay, you're working all time and you're not growing, and I was spending all day coaching and not making much money. But I realized then, looking at Alex Hormozi's videos, he said once, he was like, we need to make working cool again. We need to just, like, he was like, instead of trying to make passive income, why don't you just try and make active income? And you can make a fuck ton of money that way. And it just hit me, and I was like, oh yeah, like I fell down the passive income rabbit hole and only pursued things that could be passive for so long, and I really, really like constrained my growth with that, because entrepreneurship's competitive. If you want something to be passive, like your course, for example, the thing is, there's another entrepreneur who's gonna make it active and who's gonna do a call with everyone who buys it. His course is gonna sell more. We need to make working cool again, and the way to do that is to be capitalist as fuck and to charge high prices for it, so you make a fuck ton of money. So like you feel awesome working on it all day. Because imagine if I tried to make this passive, how would you guys feel now if I had I barely come on it 1 hour a week if I was doing one call and I was quickly trying to and I was annoyed that I had to come and do the work for you guys. It would be a shit product, right? You'd probably cancel after a month if you even signed up to begin with. If all I did was just give you some posts and stuff, which I didn't even reply to, and oh, you get my courses. This is why a lot of people's courses don't actually either sell that much, or they don't actually help the client that much, because passive income, it's not as good as you think it is. Because you know what actually happened? So this is something that not a lot of guys speak about, but this is what Alex Hormozi said happened to him, and it happened to me. I hit the ultimate dream for a lot of guys. I hit 10K a month, 20K a month, 25K a month, and it was passive. I needed to work about 2 to 3 hours a week to make that, right? Imagine this. Imagine you're working for about 12 hours a month and you're making 25K a month from that, right? Passive. Oh my God, amazing. Passive income. That shit, right? Amazing. Top 5 passive income, right? Amazing, right? Guess what? It was fucking depressing, because as a guy, we're supposed to work. And so I was trying to be productive through the day, right? But I didn't need to do anything. And so I would literally just wake up. I still had my schedule and everything. And I'd just be bored. I would literally wake up early because I had drive to wake up, right? I'd wake up early. There was no work to do. I didn't need to record anything else. So I'd literally wake up at 4:30 and just read. And I used to think, why the fuck did I just wake up so early to read, man? And I think it made me a shell of the man that I'm supposed to, because I wasn't working hard or anything. It made me despise working. I had this attitude working more was a bad thing. I had this attitude that I had this feeling I wanted to do more. Everyone who was close to me, my staff and my friends, I would always say to them, I wish I had more work to do. And it only hit me after a year that, oh shit, well, you can do work in exchange for money. I'm like, whoa, man, that's crazy, bro. Whoa. And then that's when, in the last month or so, a lot of joy and purpose and drive has come back into my life, and I'm making more money. So it's like a win-win. So the final belief that I think is very relevant to the guys here: don't fall down the passive income rabbit hole. Make the money actively. Make the money with a fuck ton of active effort. Because even if all of us were retired right now, sure, you can go and sip pina coladas on the beach and stuff, and you can go enjoy yourself. Guess what, bro? If you've got masculine energy inside of you, which you probably do if you're taking calls like this and everything, and you're driven and you got goals, just sitting around doing nothing. If we all got retired with as much money as possible, we'd still go and work most of the day anyway. Maybe what we'd do would change because we finally can choose to do that that fun project, but we'd still be doing something that feels productive and work. Maybe some of us would go into video games, but that's still work in a sense. You're still on the video game, you're still making money, you're still trying to get the kills, you're still trying to level up and grind. I'm asking the man's brain is literally all it cares about is just making progress to goals and just working to goals. And so don't deny that part of you. I genuinely, people don't know this, but I was depressed for months and months and months because there was no work that was challenging me. There was nothing for me to wake up for like once a week I'd record some videos. That was it, and that used to feel kind of fun. And other than that, I'd waste so much time. I'd literally just be sat there on YouTube Analytics, just like looking at the graph of like the view count, the same one. I've been looking at it every day for like an hour, just killing time. I'd just be like literally just doing bullshit. I'd journal for like 3 hours a day. Journaling's awesome, but you can certainly overdo it and you're just wasting time. I'd just be like reading books and stuff, and then I ended up just getting into some bad habits, and I'm going out and just meeting so many girls. I was just bored, and I kept on thinking to myself, I wish I could do more work. I just didn't realize the reason why I felt blocked to do that is because I didn't allow myself to make money from that extra work. Everything in my mind had to be passive, and then I finally formed the belief that like enjoy the passive income that comes, but like always focus on the active, because you can make a lot more money through the active income. And then at that point, the final thing I can say is just make sure that you the active thing you're doing is something that you actually like care about, that gives you like, you know, the feeling of like flow state and drive and challenge.
Thank you so much, bro. Wow. Fuck my life. Okay, so takeaway just for anyone else here. I'm pricing like a bitch. I am Mr. Passive because I think that's the goal in life. And there's so much more work that I could be doing that I also enjoy. So yeah, man, you just blew my mind. Thank you so much. Mr. Passive is gone. And by the way, like Hamza, active Hamza is way better than passive Hamza. Like I just pay for my month of Adonis Academy right now, you know? So it's amazing.
Exactly. One tip that
Like,
I'll give you one final wrap up is, because this mixes all of the beliefs we've just spoke about, right? So I'll use you specifically as an example, and I think everyone else will be able to benefit in some ways. You've said that you've got a course that's like $80, and I've suggested that you increase the price to stop pricing like a bitch. The idea is increase the price and then put in the active work to make it worth it. You've got a course right now that's $80. Make it either 500, like, you know, 497, or make it 999, like, you know, $1,000. And then start to really ask yourself, okay, what can I do to make it worth it? Maybe everyone who buys it straight away, I can go onto a one-to-one call with them and ask them, like, you know, questions and stuff, and that benefits you because you can think to yourself, okay, like, you know, oh, everyone who's bought it is a dropout from university. That's quite interesting. I might end up writing about that. Or everyone who's bought it is trying to be a YouTuber. That's quite interesting. You know, you write that in the sales pitch soon. But that's like, okay, that's one piece of value. Okay, it's $1,000. How can I make this worth it? I can I'll write an ebook. Okay, let's do that, and I'll add them to the community thing, and then I'll do another call with them, and then I'll do this and this and this, and suddenly it's like, okay, you're being a fucking like masculine man who's got work to do, and now it's worth your time, because it's not worth your time to do any active work with the $80 sale, is it? Not much. You know, you'd be underselling yourself and stuff, but if you made it a 1K, I think you would happily, like for 1K, you'd happily hop on a call with this guy, and you know, even do 2 calls with him, and even message him afterwards.
Yeah, fuck. I would even do OnlyFans for that money, man. That's really good.
This is the beautiful, way. Man. This is the way, boy.
Fuck, man.
Charge a lot, and then just outwork your self-doubt.
Shit, man. That thing that Andrew Kirby did for you, you just did that 10x in my brain. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're the best, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you for another great question, brother.